One of the things I'm really excited about, Josh, are the provisions of the well, let's just call it the TAS, Taxpayer Assistance and Service Act, that relate to the right to judicial review of IRS decisions. If this thing passes Congress in the way that it's proposed right now, I think it's going to be very helpful to taxpayers' rights when it comes to litigating with the IRS.
So am I to understand that before this bill and as it is now, you don't have the right to judicial review on a tax case? You don't have the right to have a court look at the case and say, hey, the IRS isn't doing something right here?
Oh, yes, you do have the right to judicial review, Josh. There's no question about that. And you have right to judicial review in two courts, either the United States District Court. If you're claiming a refund, you have the responsibility to pay the tax first, and then you can sue for a refund in the United States District Court, which is very cumbersome and often very expensive. And the second option, generally speaking, now there's more options than this, but generally speaking, you've got the right to go to the United States Tax Court, which is a prepayment option. If you're fighting with the IRS over an audit and the IRS says you owe $50,000 and you disagree, you've got two options. Either pay the taxes for a refund, or you go to the United States Tax Court as a prepayment option. You don't have to pay the tax first. So yes, you do have the right to judicial review, but there are some limitations. Taxpayer Assistance and Service Act is going to change and remove some of the barriers that are in place now to get judicial review. And maybe we can talk about some of those things. Well, what that means is when you go to the United States Tax Court and you get an order from the tax court and that order is wrong, the tax court has very limited authority to vacate its judgment, to set its judgment aside as though it never existed. Now, in the United States District Court, the courts have far more latitude to vacate judgments that are based on fraud or mistake or newly discovered evidence, but the tax court doesn't have the same right to do that because its rules of procedure are different. Under this act, the rules of the tax court would be expanded to allow us to go back into a case and reopen a case where a mistake was made. I represented a client years and years ago that was represented by another attorney in her tax court case, and that attorney, without her authorization, waived her right to go to trial. I went back and tried to have that decision vacated so she could go to trial on the merits of her case, get the facts and circumstances of the case reviewed by the tax court. And the tax court said to me, we don't have the power to vacate this decision. That lawyer committed malpractice by giving away her rights without her knowledge. And I was not able to undo that decision because of the narrow scope of the tax court's rules. If this passes, those rules are going to be opened up, and I would, under the same circumstances, have the right to